podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Thanks for listening to No Question About That. You can support this show by visiting patreon.com/NQATpod or in your Apple podcast feed. We do a backers show each week going deep dive into a topic related to United. Or if you don't want to part with your cash, an even better way is to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And now on with the show. Welcome to No Question About That. This is the Weekend Pod with me, Ed, and him, Daniel. How's it going, Daniel?
Tremendous.
What
a team.
What a team. We talked last week about how United were definitely back and there were no problems after our fine victory over Chelsea. Apparently not. God, it's really easy to get hyperbolic in these times, but that was just about as bad as it got, and really fucking predictable. In fact, we talked about it on last week's show and in the Tactics pod about how United might struggle against a team that sits in a low to mid block and there's no space behind, and Amorim's long ball tactics just won't work. And what happened? They just didn't work. And there was no other option except for 5 minutes before the end when we went to a flat back four. Bush put Josh Xerxes on to do something. I'm not even sure what it was. Dearie me. Anyway, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, getting slapped up by a manager with a shiny shirt is not a good look at all. Like a pudding shirt from circa 1999.
It does look like he's been out to the clubs trying to scrape the bottom of the barrel at 2 a.m. Yeah.
I think I've probably said before, my best mate's on the board at Sunderland, and he told me that Brentford were the best side they played this season, even though Sunderland beat them. Their team I thought might well go down. Like, if I was supporting a promoted team, I'd definitely be checking for their results, but they played quite well. I mean, the other thing that we speculated about on last week's pod was that he was going to play Harrants, and he did, and he covered himself in shit.
I mean, just unbelievably
bright white boots, like the kind of, oh goodness me.
Let's start with the team, because I mean, like, he's gone for. I mean, he didn't have much choice at right wing back, I guess, with Ahmad off with a family bereavement, Masraoui injured. It was always going to be Dalot, and we can get to exactly how bad he was and why, because Brentford singled him out for pressing, particularly, and then Harry Maguire and De Ligt, which to me made no sense in this kind of team when you're going to supposedly have a lot of the ball and be playing against a team that will break fast with quick players up front. Sharda's not slow, Ouattara's quick, and play direct balls in behind, right? And it was just so bloody predictable exactly how these teams would play and how they'd match up against each other. And then you actually had the Brentford side, which was, as you say, in a period of transition, lost two of their best players this summer, their previous best player the summer before, and their manager, and you'd expect them to be vulnerable. But they just weren't at all. I mean, Keith Andrews, like rookie manager, figured it out, like everyone does.
And I think, what is worth noting about this is that, first of all, that Brentford moved from 3 at the back to 4 at the back, and are able to flick between these formations. Newcastle doing it today. Yet we're just trying to learn this one formation, and we're still shit. And the other thing is also what we were saying about picking Harrants, is that what that's saying to Brentford is we're worried about what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Not picking a team to beat a team that you should beat, but I don't really see the need for that. And we knew he'd do it. And what we saw was that, I'm not sure what actually happened, why we started the game so poorly, because we've actually been getting better at starting games properly in recent times. And it's actually once that kind of initial impetus runs out and it becomes more about control than shock and awe or whatever, that's when United struggle. But we actually started like we continued yesterday, and And I guess, in a sense, I wouldn't necessarily blame the manager for that. But at the same time, it's his job to send them out ready to go. And they went out, I don't know, ready to go home.
Yeah, some of them should permanently, I guess. I mean, it was just such a simple ball over the top for the first goal. Just a long ball from Henderson. And Thiago just ran in the channel, the space between the... And Keith Andrews talked about it after the game as well. Attacking that space between the wing-back and the outside centre-back.
Which is in any three-at-the-back system, not even this one, that is what you do. It's one of the reasons I don't like this formation. It's sort of saying I'm going to forget about the corners of the pitch. Why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's exactly where they attacked, and it's where the goal came from, and it's a wicked finish, obviously.
It's a slice, actually. I know they kept wanking about it on the television, but I thought he got a bit lucky with that finish. It was a swing and a slice, and he hit it hard enough so that it went in. I mean, I guess he caught enough of it, so it wasn't saying it was a shit finish, but yeah, I thought he was a little bit fortunate with the finish, actually. But what was noticeable about the goal is that Henderson launches it forward. United have had a week to prepare for this game and to prepare for that kind of thing, and Harrens doesn't know what to do.
Yeah,
he starts to step up, and then he steps back, and you've got a defender who should know the game, should know how to play on a back three. Is not an idiot. Should be able to understand instructions. So I don't know whether the fault was with him, his indecision, or with the manager's instructions, or both. But that kind of thing really shouldn't be happening. And it's also the picking of Harrens I don't like, because it's just feels very short-termist to me. He's not the future of this team. I mean, he wasn't even the present or the past either at any point. And we're trying to get good. And
I mean, it kind of understood. I kind of understood it last week against Chelsea, because you're like, okay, he's preparing for. We may be on the back foot against a supposedly good team, and we may need to do a lot of box defending, which we did in the end for different reasons than we thought against Chelsea. For this one, when you're going to have a lot of the ball, and Yoro has been so good in bringing the ball out, his weaknesses are against aerial stuff, right? So maybe that was a...
And how's he going to get better at it?
Yeah, well, exactly. But he's been good at bringing the ball forward, coming into midfield, making that extra man in midfield, making the link between the wing-back and Bruno to get it forward, right? That's the job Yoro had been tasked with, and then suddenly he's out of the team. That made no sense to me at all. And, of course, the weakness over the top against quick players like Brentford exploited it really quickly.
And I just thought, actually, what Amorim said after the game about we played their game, he picked a team to play their game.
He did, yeah, he did.
And he also felt like he was sort of playing their game as well, with just humping it along all the time.
I mean, they've really doubled down on this. And like, the Premier League as a whole has become more direct, but United have become almost long. I mean, it's the first thing. And like the setup in midfield, and we'll go through it in more detail on the tactics pod, I guess. But like with Ugarte pushing forward to be the counter presser and Bruno being the quarterback and launching it long into channels, or sometimes just straight at Sesko, it's just totally ineffective against a team where it's not like Collins and Pinnock have been playing well this season. They both had like pretty struggling starts to the season, but that's just easy for them. I didn't get it as a setup, a set of tactical instructions. You know, there's been a lot of debate about like United's XG being really high. Yeah, it was the highest in the league, but it's like crap quality. It's just crap quality shots throughout. United's XG was juiced yesterday by, which is like 2 or something, by the penalty, and Sesko getting 3 pieces of XG for 1 goal, right? So, and you know, I guess we can praise his persistence in that, but also the highest XG against in the league.
Right, and that is very telling.
And we're conceding good quality chances over and over again.
Yeah, and it's also worth knowing, I've got in my notes here like imprecision in the pass, and that's what caused that first goal as well, because Dalot plays a shit pass behind Cunha. I do think it was a foul. I don't care that it wasn't given. It's not one of those fouls that you kind of get irate isn't given, but was a push in the back, whatever. But it's those imprecise passes already before the goal have been ruining attacks, because in the beginning, although we weren't good, it did start to look like the front three were kind of beginning to gel a little bit, but the passing just wasn't accurate enough. And I mean, yeah, Dalot obviously, I mean, he wasn't alone, but he had a stinker yesterday. So did Harrons.
He did.
So
yeah.
did Mbumo.
I think it was Keith Andrews. I can't remember whether it was one of the players. Keith Andrews said that their plan was to use Sharda and Utara to press the United's wing backs and rush them into passes into midfield. Oh, and Ruben Amorim talked in our post match about how they struggled to get it in good quality ball into Bruno. So, I mean, I think that was part of the plan, right? They know that Dalot and Dorgu on the other side are imprecise with the passing. That in this system they are the second, like the extra man, the overload in wide areas all of the time, whether it's in defensive areas, pushing into midfield, or in the attacking third. And that is a weakness, and that they targeted those players to get the ball off them, which they managed to do. Or United just weren't able to build up effectively, like over and over again.
And the total inability to defend the set pieces that they've spent all week practicing was mind-boggling, almost quite impressive. Yeah. Because, I mean, it's actually a weird thing that set pieces and throw-ins are coming back, because I just can't understand why they ever left. It's always been the case that a flat, hard throw is a bitch to defend against. And similarly, that like the corners when taken properly. I mean, we saw some really good ones actually today in the Villa Fulham game. The goal that Fulham score at the beginning comes from a near post cross, and I mean, it wasn't the kind of the Arsenal near post cross, which is kind of limp, hard and flat to the near post, fold with the flick on, and then various dickheads arriving to head it in or bundle it in or whatever. When that's done properly, it's almost impossible to defend, and I don't really understand, and I never did understand, why this shit doesn't appear to have been practiced properly.
Yeah, I think it's a data thing, actually, modern day data, which says like the chance even the best teams score from less than 10% of their corners, and you get a much higher percentage chance if you retain the ball and so on. So we just kind of overswang. I wonder whether the pendulum's gone back the other way a little bit far with just how direct and how much focus there is on set pieces, or it's just because Arsenal became so good at it, everyone's like, oh, 3 goals, perhaps we should copy that thing too. I mean, clearly we haven't copied that thing because we're crap at both.
We've got a little bit better at the attacking ones, I think.
It's got a couple, haven't we?
Yeah, one of my big frustrations of the Fergie era is that Evra started going forward for them so late, because Rio obviously went up and did bugger. How many times did Rio lope forward to do absolutely nothing whereas Evra actually went forward to try and score? But I mean, then I'm just thinking about their second goal as well, which was again like
that was the follow-up, right, to Sharda's shot.
Yeah. I mean, I feel, and I thought they almost got a little bit lucky as well, because Sharda, I think it is down the left. His touch is heavy when he goes outside down the line, but it works out quite well for him. And I mean, Binder is just how many times does this have to happen?
I mean, he made some good saves yesterday, but
he made some all right saves. He made some saves that if he hadn't have made, you'd be saying, why doesn't he fucking save that? Because
true,
shit.
There were no really high XG chances there for Brentford. I mean, he also, I think, on the third one, Brentford's, he basically just dived out the way. I don't know why he was confused about it. It went straight down the middle of the goal. Just stood there and it hit me in the face.
It's one of those, I think, that it looks much worse in slow motion, because it does go in the middle of the goal, but he hit it. It was a knuckleball. It didn't move. He whacked it, and it was hard. So, but the second one, man, come on. And there was part of me thinking, if he hadn't have touched it to parry it out, the cross might have gone away. Actually, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure he had to touch it in the first place. But obviously, I understand why he did. But he is not good. In fact, he's the opposite of good. Yeah. And at some point, this is one of the other things that's sort of pissing me off with Amorim, is that it's also wimpish. You've bought a fucking goalkeeper. I understand why he didn't play him against City, but now, like, you know that Bayindir is wank. So how can you even write his name on the team sheet? I literally think that, like, there's something in me that would physically render me unable to write his name on the team sheet because he's rubbish.
It's even worse. He had 2 goalkeepers on the bench as well yesterday. I mean, I don't understand that at all. There's so few scenarios. There's got to be one in every 10,000 games.
Do you not have to have that? Is that not a diktat now?
I don't think so. At 9 subs, I don't think you have to have 2 goalkeepers. So, I don't know, maybe I'm totally wrong. It seems ridiculous to me, but one of the things about the second goal also is I'm not sure that anyone could have caught up with Sharda, but how can you play a line that high when you've got very little recovery pace? In fact, like, you've got De Ligt and Maguire, 2 of your defenders. Shaw's not as fast as he was. It doesn't make sense that you would offer that much space in behind when you know, or you should know, the opposition are literally trying to hit that space with fast attackers and long passes. True, but part of the system is to compress the team a little bit, right? So the spaces between the lines are not so big, and you're not stretched out like Ten Hag's team. But yeah, it comes back to that midfield balance as well, doesn't it? Which, like, how can you ask Bruno to take the ball off the goalkeeper, turn and play the long passes, and retain a rest defence shape that doesn't allow United to get countered on, and get forward and create stuff, because he's the only guy who creates stuff in the team, and score goals, and be the bloody captain? I mean, it's madness, and play Ugarte again, who we know is utter crap, right? So
and that's the thing, isn't it? And that's what's really frustrating about this. Is just, we know that what we're seeing doesn't work and isn't going to work, and the only way that he can keep his job is by changing. Like, we know that Manu isn't really cut out for this role either, but at least he's got some quality. I try not to feel negative emotions about United players, but I fucking hate Ugarte.
I don't hate him, but I know he's not right.
No, I mean, I'm sure he's a lovely boy, but just, I don't. It's not a personal thing. I hate the footballer that he is.
Yeah.
It's because he's just wallpaper. Like, he's giving no personality to it. He doesn't do anything, and we know the manager doesn't really rate him because he's picking a 90-year-old ahead of him. But the way that we're trying to play is not working. So if you play Manu, then you've at least got a bit more quality and you've got a bit more opportunity to control the game. Mm-hmm. Like, how are you going to control the game with Bruno and Ugarte? I don't get it. Like, what is he envisaging? How will this control look like, and how will it come about?
Yeah, well, we didn't. I mean, even if you look at the possession stats, I mean, we had the possession stats, but the field tilt is not field tilt. I hate this terminology. It is not heavily in United's favour, which says we had a lot of passive possession, doing nothing with it. And then we're trying to get it quickly into the front three, which didn't work against the low block either. I mean, it's so bloody predictable. All of this is deeply frustrating because I feel like a dickhead, because for weeks I've been going, somehow, for some reason, I believe in this guy and he could turn it around, and there's just no evidence at all. And okay, we're still only 5 games in. I don't know what point we say we've got enough data now to say, you know, and we can point to a lot of bad luck. You know, Brentford should have had a red card yesterday. It's obviously a dogso. There was a foul for their first goal. They were allowed to make a substitution before the penalty, which you are not allowed to do. You know, all of this kind of. So
two subs they made.
2 subs, yeah, and they delayed it more. I mean, it specifically says in the Premier League guidance not to do that, right? So
that's the thing, isn't it?
You can say we're unlucky, but it is also shit. And it's been set up shit, and the results are shit, and nothing's changed to make it unshit. So.
I agree that if we had just a competent goalkeeper, and Bruno hadn't bollocks 2 penalties, we'd probably be doing all right points-wise. Mm-hmm. But we still know what we're seeing, and it's not good.
No, the eye test is almost even worse than the data test. You know, and the data bit is not good, right? Actually, once you dig into it, apart from that kind of headline number, which means nothing.
I guess it looked a bit like Šeško was a bit sharper yesterday. I'm not just talking about the goal, which we'll come to. I mean, or the hair dye, which didn't look good at all. But I felt like we're starting to see some touches, a bit of link up, and I really liked his goal. Actually, obviously there starts with a crap pass from Ugarte.
Yeah,
but it was a better cross from Dorgu, who I also, like yesterday, thought his running with the ball was quite good. He just still delivers very little at the end. But I like that he dug out a cross and then thought the pressure on the keeper was good, because so often in that situation you'll see someone put pressure on the keeper and overstep the mark and they'll give away a foul.
Correct foul, yeah.
And Bumo was able to do it in a sensible manner and not give away a foul. And good on Šeško for making sure that he scored in the end.
Yeah. No, good for him, and I hope it really. I mean, he was very downbeat with the celebration, because even that brought it 2-1. It's not like it was a consolation goal, but you'd think he'd want to give it some for his first United goal. But no, good for him, and yeah, well on Bumo for not fouling the keeper. The only time you're allowed to foul the keeper is when it's a corner for Arsenal. Then it's perfectly all right. You can do whatever the fuck you like. Apart from that, yeah, don't touch the keeper. The VAR reviewed it, lengthy review again. On that one, good for United. But at that point, like bringing it back to 2-1 after 20 odd minutes or whatever, you think, all right, are we going to play now? Second half, Dan, I looked at the data. We created 0.04 XG from open play. 0.04 XG from open play when we were chasing the game.
While chasing a game. I mean, the second half was the fucking pits. It really was. I just... No intensity from the off, and it's just, again, like, you blame the players for that, because ultimately they got to take responsibility for themselves as professionals.
Absolutely.
But
yeah.
What did he say to them at half time? What did he put in their tea? Mogadon.
Yeah. A bit of K, just chill out, fellas. Yeah, there was no intensity. And after, I mean, it was weird because the second half against Chelsea wasn't good in a sense that we gave away possession and just like try to I guess control the game in one sense, but this was even worse. You're chasing a game against a not great team. You have a chance to get back-to-back Premier League wins for the first time under this manager, and there was just nothing there. One of the Twitter accounts put on some I forget who now, some data against when United are playing teams who are set in the top half of the table, so 10th and above. We have 3 wins under Amorim. 3. 16% win rate.
Yeah,
I mean it's astonishing, really, because like in any other scenario, basically, unless you're a relegation, it's expected to be in relegation form. You wouldn't accept this level of results after a year in the job, would you? Nearly a year in the job, 11 months or so. Definitely not any of the European elite clubs. They'd have been fired twice by now. So it's are they just waiting for that November the 1st deadline, at which point they can fire him with less compensation? And I'm not even, I don't even know I'm saying that. I'm just so fucking lost on what United do if they do fire him, because like, is it a temporary coach? Do we go look for another one who's on the market? There's a lot of flavours of the day being mentioned out there. Obviously, Glasner's 18 games. Even then, he's like... He plays 3 at the back, but in a low block. It's just a completely different system. It's just like nothing.
I wouldn't. It wouldn't be him, I don't think.
I don't think so.
The way that Palace play is very different to the way that we want to play. Like, Palace exactly. are quite a reactive team. They sit deep, they counter. They're not looking to control the game, not looking to dominate, and that's what you have to do if you're going to try and win the league.
Exactly, and we do need that kind of manager, because I don't think, despite how bad we are and our expectations being in the toilet now, we still do want a manager who's got a proactive style of football. I mean, of all the managers, I mean, there's some scare stories out there again that, Gareth Southgate's available. God, no, please, God, no. And, or even like other names mentioned, like Iraola. I like him as a manager, but he's found a way of getting more out of his team than one would expect with the resources available by being an insane pressing side, right? They are the lowest passes per defensive action of any team, basically. They just press, and that is how they disrupt their opposition and achieve more. And I don't even know if you can do that at United, but you have to have more as a top club as well. So I don't even know whether he would be the right manager. It's hard to say, So we're just in such a shit position. And, what would it be? Would it be we take a temp manager on for the rest of the season, then reassess again? It's desperately bad, Dan.
It really is. And yet there are some good ass players in this team.
Yeah.
And like I said this last week, and like it's still like it freaks my nut that he's got the opportunity of a lifetime, and he's just going to absolutely toss it for like these shitty principles. that aren't working, that are literally making him look a total Charlie every Saturday.
Yeah. 50 games of evidence now is a lot.
Yeah, and he said what did he say? He said something like, when we lose, he says...
Yeah, when we lose, it's the system. When we win, it's the manager or something. Or not the manager. It was kind of weirdly arrogant point of view, I think. It was almost Mourinho-esque. I will die on this hill.
And
it's
he
me
also
above
said,
the club.
But first of all, he said before Chelsea, he said the problem is not the system, the problem is the results. As though there's no fucking correlation between those things, you absolute dunce. How can you say that? What causes the results, mate? It is the system causes the results. That's why we're losing games to fucking Grimsby and Brentford. It's because the system is not working, hence the results. And
one of the things, like when we say, oh, there's only 5 games of evidence, and you can point to a few things, but we actually have 50 games. Nothing's really changed other than he put in, other than like banging the long balls a bit more frequently. Other than he was like, I'll just get better players and it'll make everything better. Well, it's kind of been proven not to be true now. We like the better players, right? We like Mbumo. Cunha, I think, will come good. I have hopes for Sesko without much evidence yet. But that's what he's decided, and the club went along with him on that one, clearly, right? And maybe he'd have liked another midfielder, I guess.
So, yeah, on that, and I think I'm right in saying The Athletic reported that he wanted a midfield player, and
Wilcox nixed it for a forward,
For a forward. Yeah. And so, which relates to them firing him or not, really, because they kept Ten Hag too long and had to fire him, so that was a fuck up. Now looks like they fucked up disappointment as well by appointing someone whose system doesn't translate. And surely just in an interview they would have said what happens when your system needs adapting for the Premier League. And the more I think about the 2 men in midfield, the more mind-boggling it is, because 2 is difficult against 3 if you've got Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira. But if you think about how athletic the Premier League is now, that 2 against 4 sometimes it's never really going to work, and
with totally the wrong profiles of player to do it as well. And we spoke about that right from the beginning, going, that's the weakness, that is a problem, right? And it's not that, I mean, you can say, like, Casemiro's legs are obviously gone, he can't do it for very long, or he has to have this limited role. Uarte we've talked about. Bruno actually had, I thought, quite a lot of very good games in central midfield, right, individually, but in the system, right, it's a real problem, right, because he's been asked to cover too many roles, right, for one player to be effective in all of them. And he didn't have a great game yesterday, but he's exposed incredibly in that system. And he's, just imagine how bad it would have been if we didn't have Bruno for the past year. I mean, we've gone down probably, but I don't know. He said, if you want to change the system, you have to change the man, right? So he's not even like tweaking, he's not going to change his principles. And he talks about, blowing off the foot. He's like, it's not important. Glasner actually talks about that as well. Like, it's not about the 3 at the back. It's about the principles of play. And I think we should recognise 2 formations that look the same, completely different principles of play. Ruben's not going to compromise on those principles of play, right? So what we see is what we get from now on. What is it that he now needs? Because he gets the extra time for training. They should be less tired. He got the players he wanted, except the midfielder, I guess. What is it that's going to change? Or do we just go, well, we need to get to the next window in order to fix it?
He's not making the next window, I'm afraid.
Seems unlikely, doesn't it?
And he's very credible apart from the football. And I find it quite weird that he's so dogmatic with this, because his sort of worldview suggests someone with a bit of emotional intelligence who right. I always, like Benedict Anderson, I think it was, said that I'd never die for my beliefs, because what if I'm wrong?
Yeah, right.
And he's someone who I would have thought, with all the therapy that he's had and all the therapy speak that he's capable of, that he wouldn't want to be dogmatic about anything, because that as a human you could be wrong, and things are fluid, and we create ourselves afresh every day, and all of these kind of
it's
lines.
That Mourinho quote, you die for your principles, you're an idiot.
You're a fucking idiot, right? At least died by being an arsehole to everyone.
Dear me. I mean, it's I mean, as I said, I'm beginning to feel like I'm an idiot for going, yeah, sure, this guy could turn it around, because there's just fucking no evidence. There's just no evidence.
I mean, as I think I said at the time, the game that really alarmed bells for me was Fulham. When they had nothing after the initial flurry, I realised it was going to be another one of these seasons and that it was going to be his fault. And I guess to finish off the point I started making earlier, that you've got people in the boardroom that probably don't want to sack him because it makes them look stupid. And at what point does someone say to Barada and Wilcox, this is your fault?
Well, it's Ratcliffe, because he's closer than he should be, probably, as a partial owner. But yeah, he's at the point that he loses faith, then Amorim's done. And he might have lost it already. I mean, apparently they had a good meeting and it was normal and all of that kind of stuff, and who knows. But yeah, I mean, we've seen when Ratcliffe loses faith in someone, they are gone. So they spent months trying to get the fella from Newcastle, whose obviously name is going out of my head right at the moment, technical director Dan Ashworth, and then he fired him the moment he decided that he didn't like him.
That's it. Like, these are ruthless people. He's a ruthless person. And so it is surprising that he is acting so ruthfully here, because, as you said earlier, any of the other big clubs he'd have gone. He'd have gone last year, probably.
They'd have had the hankies out at Madrid. They'd have been attacking his house at Sporting, which they did once. In Napoli, the mafioso would have sent you a horse's head and said, "Hey, maybe you want to resign." You know, it's just like, yeah, it's astonishing, really, that the Manchester Education Committee, if they still exist, haven't had a little word or something. You know, because they were more matters of principle rather than matters of football, true. I'd say. But yeah, that is very true. Yeah, but it's just, if you look also often, like, how many players often in his team are playing out of position? So often. Why do you do this to yourself? It just, you've got Shaw, who's a left back playing at left centre back. You've got Ahmad, who's whatever he is. It's not a wing back. Then you've got Bruno playing in the two-man midfield, and then Bruno, 184 goals and assists for the club, mostly at 10, playing in central midfield. Bruno, but not even in central midfield. He's barely even an 8. Yeah, he's more of a 6. He's more of a 6 because Ugarte is there for the counter pressing. Bruno is the long pass, collecting it on the half turn from centre back. Why? He actually, in his interview, does this long form interview with the club where he says that he thinks he could be a 6 later on, and maybe he could. But I mean, it's difficult for him, I think, because physically you need probably to be a bit bigger to protect the ball when you're on the half turn, like you're describing just there. Mm-hmm. But I think the problem is also he's trying to be a 6, an 8, and a bit of a 10, because all at the same time. He has to be. Yeah. He's not just focusing on playing that role of being a 6. While we're mentioning him, I did not like that penalty he took. Like, to me, if you're taking a penalty, you had to wait that long, there's pressure, and you know the keeper saves them. Give it a whack. Don't fucking take it like that, mate. Yeah, that's the third time when a penalty's been delayed or there's been delaying tactics that he's missed. And I wonder whether Fulham made the substitution at that point. Oh, for sure. That was definitely to put the pressure on the. I mean, and fair fucks to Keith Andrews, he got away with it. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, there might be an argument for giving Mbeumo the penalty-taking duties. I mean, Bruno is, I think, he has enough humility that he might even pass it along if that's the case. Actually, he's got a good record overall, right? It's not like. I mean, and I looked at the data of that one. That is, it's not the worst penalty ever because it comes out at 0.76 expected goals after the shot. 0.79 is the average prior to the shot. So it's worse than average, but it's not the worst. And Mbeumo's missed one this season as well, though. Him and Cooney missed against Grimsby. He missed against Grimsby, yeah. But I thought it was the wrong type of penalty, I would say. Trying to stroke it in and then not enough in the corner, And he didn't even wait for the keeper. It's not like he did the stutter step. I thought he was going to do the little spring, actually, the hop, which generally when he's taking a big penalty, he doesn't do. But I thought after the one that he missed, I thought he would do that. But yeah, it wasn't good. But I mean, I'm sure he's pretty pissed off with him actually, because he's just not being able to do what he does. And we didn't even finish the players who are playing out of position, but Mbeumo's not really a 10, he's a winger.
He's a winger who cuts in, and he's actually sort of now being forced to do it the opposite. He's someone you want starting on the touchline, coming infield,
and coming in to shoot,
and rather he's sort of starting infield and moving out a lot of the time.
It's interesting, really, because like the some of the players we got rid of are players who start wide, cut in, and shoot, and we got rid of them because that's not what Amorim wants. He wants someone who will play between the lines and be the connective tissue with the wing back. Deary me. All right. Quick note on Nick Cox. There was some. He's done a fantastic job with the academy director. He speaks in a great way about the ethos of Manchester United and the role. I think there's a lot of people very disappointed he's leaving. This is last day. He's moving to Everton to be the technical director there, which says I think there's a lot of faith in general football circles about what a good administrator he is. We might regret this one, but Stephen Torpey has come from Brentford. He kind of rebuilt their academy system because they gave up on having an elite academy, had a B team for a while. Now they've got one back. I mean, it does cost teams between sort of 15 and 20 million pounds a year, so you can understand why some teams have decided not to do that. I don't know much about Stephen Torpey other than he is kind of thought of, well, the academy teams are producing lots of quality at the moment. Darren Fletcher's doing a great job with the academy team. He's under 18.
Playing 4-3-3.
Playing 4-3-3 and scoring a lot of goals. Yeah. And so, yeah, not much to say other than a bit of a change there. Good luck to Stephen Torpey.
It's just, it kind of gets to the point where it's almost, are we just seeing the same thing again next week now?
With Amorim?
It's just Casemiro comes in, maybe Yoro comes in, maybe Ahmad's back, but
yeah,
it's just...
It's going to be the same, yeah. But funny thing is, you'd be looking at the Sunderland one going, hey, that's one that we should be able to pick up, but they're now third in the table and are playing well. Yeah,
they're a physical team, so we're not going to have much advantage in that area, I don't think. They've settled. And this is another one that they've come up a division, they've bought half a team, and they've managed to gel. Mm-hmm. Even though that seems like, it feels impossible.
I think it's possible, Dan, because lots of managers managed to imprint their style straight away. Look at Ange Postecoglou. He's already managed to ruin Forest.
I can't envisage a situation like where they're not saying to him, you must change this or we're firing you. What are the kind of conversations that are being had, if not that?
Well, the briefing after these meetings last week or the week before was that all the underlying data is good, but it's not. It's not. When you scratch beneath the surface, it's not. So, and these people, they must know what, like Wilcock's technical director, former academy director, he must know, right? He must be able to see a game and look at the data and look at all the technical aspects of the data of the team construction and how they're playing, and no, this ain't right.
Right. They as you say, and so what are the conversations that they're having? And he's just going to do the same thing again next week and the week after and the week after, and then he's going to get fired at some point between now and middle of November. He will be fired.
I mean, yes, unless there's a change, because we might win next week or we might not. Does that change anything going week from week to week? I mean, it shouldn't do. That shouldn't be what you base your managerial decisions on.
What would you do if you were him? So if
I was Amorim,
what would you do?
I mean, I'd get as many players as possible into their correct positions, even if that means that some of your new purchases or favourites aren't in their right positions. That's the basics, right? If you're not going to compromise on the basic formations, I don't expect him to go to four at the back. He did for about 5 minutes against Brentford, I guess, when it was desperation times. That's the first thing I'd do. So I'd how can I get the right number of players? And that probably means moving Bruno to one of the 10s, deciding which of the other ones you want to play, and bringing Mainu into central midfield to at least get... And then at least Bruno, we know he can drop back into those spaces to make three in midfield when we need to. That probably means Cunha on the bench, unless you want to only play Sesko every other game, I guess. I mean, it doesn't sound like a perfect solution, I think the perfect solution is there's a bloody good 4-3-3 in this squad, or at least a decent one.
And it just gives you more scope because with the midfield. And the other thing I think, and I'm actually writing about this at the moment, is that if you think about what the wide centre-backs have to do, they've got to defend the channels, they've got to hit switches, they've got to carry the ball, and they've also got to punch passes into midfield.
Yeah.
And they've got to defend.
Those. Yeah.
Now, if you've got two that can do that, why do you need the third one?
Yeah.
Like, if you've got two that are that fucking good, they can do what he's asking them to do at the Premier League level. You don't need a third one. Just
and so many teams they don't, because there's a spare man there because they're only up against one effectively. So they do need to push into midfield. Yeah. And what would your let's play some thought experiments. If you were picking a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 with this squad, what would it look like? I mean, because if you went with Lamans, because it doesn't really matter if he's any good, he can't be worse than Bayern Dia.
I'm definitely going with him.
Yeah. Mazraoui at right back, Delict to Yoro, good centre, or when Leach is back,
Martinez
and Shaw at
Yoro.
left back, and you've got a pretty good back four there, I'd say. Top six, I think.
Maybe, yeah. And then I guess Mainu, Bruno, and one other dickhead.
And one of Casemiro and Ugarte, or at least in the three, they're less exposed as well.
Yeah,
Casemiro can do that job.
Definitely not Ugarte. And then, I guess I'm going. And then Mbumo, Sesko, Cunha.
Yeah, it suddenly makes sense. That does logically, doesn't it? And everyone's in their right position. You don't even need to tell them how to play that one. What are the principles? Well, you play through the thirds like any other team. I mean, we're not suddenly going to be press baiting. I don't think, Brighton style, but oh dearie me, the thought experiment that is completely pointless because, like Schrodinger's cat, this fucking team is already dead.
It's just, how is he sitting there going? Do you think he thinks that it will change?
I think he thought, I get better players, same principles, they execute it better. But now, I don't know. I mean, there is a scenario that says he just walks away. I mean, he's talked about the conversation doesn't mean anything. I think his lawyers might be saying, "Hey, mate, don't walk away from £12 million."
Yeah, he's not walking. He's not walking anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's got tunnel vision at this point. There were all the platitudes about working harder. We've got to do this better. Blah blah. It's all about the execution piece, right? Not about the principles piece. Yeah.
And that's it. It's like what's frustrating about this is that it feels like it doesn't need to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
And like it could be quite good. It could be a bit more joyful. It could be more entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's not even like it's exciting football. It's pretty. I mean, I don't mind the direct stuff as an alternative. I think that's all right to have. There's many ways to win a football game. I'm not some kind of football purist that says if a pass is longer than 5 yards, we're playing crap football. That's all right. It's just become the predominant method of attacking. That is our plan A. And yesterday it was obvious that plan A would not come off. All right, before we go, after all this bitching and moaning, United women are playing well. At the end, at full time yesterday, I was watching it with my 8-year-old. He said, "Dad, you could just find another team," after I was shouting at the TV, which I can't. But I could turn my focus to United women, who, despite like a lot of negativity surrounding this team sometimes with who they've bought and their budget isn't as good as it should be and the focus from the leadership isn't what it should be and they're working on a shoestring and they got kicked out of the building so the men could have their space and all of this kind of stuff. Despite that, they have some bloody good results this season already. They qualified for the Champions League proper. They will be in this large group phase. They've had very good results all season. They beat Liverpool today after having a very good draw against Arsenal last weekend. It's been a really positive, good start to the season. Jess Park looks an excellent signing. There's some question marks about whether we should have lost Grace Clinton, but Park has slotted into that right-hand side immediately and made the team better. Yeah,
I saw a bit of the game. First goal was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, they have, it feels like the players know what the manager wants, which I don't feel is the case with Amorim somehow. And it's weird because
4-2-3-1 he plays. 4-2-3-1. He's got all the players in their right positions as well. Even Dominique Jansson's moved back into central defence. So, he's thin squad, but he's got all the players in their right position. They're performing well.
Oh, imagine
that. It can happen sometimes. Yes, maybe we should pick some other sides. I've got my Napoli shirt on today. It's very shiny. I kind of thought when I looked at it, I was like, oh, I like that chocolate coloured Napoli.
Is it brown?
I think. It's brown, yeah. It doesn't really come out on camera.
No, it
looks very brown in person. My camera lights here are shining on it a lot. I was supposed to have McSauce on the back as well, and the printers stiffed me there, but, hey. Your Ghana top last week, Dan, the Adidas one you had on.
Yes.
That's nice. Very nice.
It's
Adidas coming out with some good stuff at the moment, yeah.
I didn't buy it, and then I almost left it too late. I had to scrabble around trying to find it in the end, but we got there, and now it's one of these that all my family now have. Like my wife has one, my daughter has one, and I'm in the process of trying to find it for my niece and my nephew. I think my nephew has it already, actually, but yeah, there's one of those, a rare garment where you're suddenly like, a million yeses to that.
Yeah. I like a lot of the stuff. Yeah, even the United stuff is sort of kind of, I don't know what you call it. Kind of, it's kind of grey, dark grey, with the off white or cream stripes going down the sides. That's nice as well. Ruben
The United stash actually, isn't bad. But we did send out binder in pink yesterday, and
you're not a fan of the third kit. I wasn't a fan of the shorts combo. I know they had to do it because Brentford had dark shorts, so they had to wear I'd like it all black, right? All black.
Is it in fact the case that it was meant to be black shorts?
I think you can get the black shorts with it, yeah.
But the yellow shorts, not good. It just, I don't know. It sort of feels like,
Dortmund away or something, yeah.
Yellow, it just doesn't feel like much of a football colour. Like pink. I mean, I know a few clubs.
Brazil get away with yellow, for example.
Yeah, but exactly. But they're Brazil.
They are Brazil. Yeah. Yeah, pink, but also very flat pink. It feels like a training kit or something like that rather than an actual kit.
I mean, it's not as bad as that baby pink that they wore a few seasons ago when Rashford got sent off at Burnley.
Yeah. They went from pink to salmon, which is even worse.
Yeah. But there was nothing remotely good about any of this. And they looked silly even. So it does feel now like we're waiting until he gets fired.
It feels like end game for sure. Yeah, I don't see where we suddenly get a turnaround that we get the kind of form that would top six form. I mean, if they'd won yesterday, there'd be a point off second or something. It's very early, but
because I think what we saw yesterday also is that it's when the players don't play well, the system won't save them.
Yeah,
it needs the players to play well to win games because it's about the players, not about. They're not being. I think we have to say platforms now. They're not platforming. He's not platforming the best players effectively, and so it needs them to override. And what I'd hoped, and I said this, I think in our season preview, was that I'm not at one with this with the system, but I hoped that the better players and his human resources skills would cover for the problems inherent within it, and obviously that is not in fact the case.
I don't think it's human resources skills, it's human skills. Human resources people are fucking awful. My entire experience with them has been dreadful. Yeah. Always there to protect the company, and people forget that. All right, Daniel. Well, we'll see whether Ruben has a meeting with Human Resources to collect his P45. It won't be this week. There's Sunderland next week. Then there's the international break. Then there's away at Anfield, which could be ugly. Although Liverpool, I quite enjoyed them losing yesterday.
They're not good. Whoever wins the league this season will not be remembered as a great team. They're not. They've got some good players. They're not good. Same with Arsenal.
They've had like 5 goals in the last 5 minutes to get points this season. Yeah. I thought they were going to jam one yesterday after Salah.
And done it twice in Europe.
He did a Maradona. The ball deviates off his hand. You can see it with the naked eye, and then they zoom in and slow-mo it, and they're like, nah, don't see anything there, Gov. Mad. Man, what is I wanted to avoid any chat about VAR, but the Dogso yesterday for Brentford and that Salah one, mad how you can look at those and go, what?
I've not seen the Salah one, but the red card that was given yesterday was absolutely fucking mind-blowing.
Mad.
That we didn't get that. I could not believe what I was seeing because there's no we can't obfuscate what happened. There's no grey area. There's no doubt. He
Wasn't
pulls him
going
back.
for the ball.
And the idea that he wasn't in control of the ball is because it's going to be
He's
a
been
one-touch
pulled back.
finish. It's not even that. Like, even if it's going to be a one-touch finish, it doesn't. Like, yeah, if a cross if a cross comes in and someone's fouled and they're in front of the goal, it doesn't. Yeah, like, not being in control of the ball is only if you've got the ball in your possession and you then lose control of it. It's not when you're looking for a one-touch finish. It's just
Yeah.
And
No, I was not in control of my emotions watching that one, I'll tell you that. Regulate, talking to therapy talk. Yeah. Deary me. All right, we should leave it there. This is, I don't know. I don't know how to conclude this other than this is as bad as it gets at any point since post-Ferguson. We are 15th, which is apparently our natural position now. How that can be the case, I don't know. And I think we are just waiting for the inevitable, which will come within the next couple of months.
yeah, agree.
All right, bye now, everyone. Check us out at patreon.com/NQATpod. Daniel is on Blue Sky. I'm on Substack. And writing, if you want to catch my writing. I don't know what I'm going to write about this, but this afternoon I will put together something on just how bad it is.
And please subscribe to us on YouTube and Apple, and rate us and Apple and other
All of that kind of
associated
stuff.
words. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you can send us a lot of abuse on Apple and just hit 5 stars. That's also good. So I don't think they take tonality of your comment into account. So if you want to say we're dickheads, like most of this team, you're fine to do that. Just give us 5 stars.
I think we did get in. I think we did get in the dickheads this week, didn't we? So yeah,
we did. We did. It is. Yeah. But when you don't do it, Dan, people are asking why is he not called the players dickheads this week?
fucking dickheads.
All right. Bye now.